Alright everybody, welcome to Thursday. I apologize for not being here last week, but my little boy got sick, and sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Family comes first. But this week it is horror comedy week, and I chose a film that I've been wanting to catch for a long time now, and I'm just so happy I was finally able to watch it. It is Return of the Living Dead. Oh my goodness, I have just fallen in love with this movie. I ended up watching it like 3 times already. Absolutely love this. 1985, directed by Dan O'Bannon. Rest in peace, he's passed away. This was Dan O'Bannon's first helm as director, and I think he did a mighty fine job. Everything just seemed to come together so perfectly for this film. The directing was good, the special effects were good, the acting was good. It had a really nice blend of horror and comedy. It's just, but not like slapstick comedy. It's just fantastic. If you've never seen it, it's about. Most of it takes place in a medical warehouse. This younger boy, teenage boy, Freddie, he gets a job in this medical supply store, and he's mostly working with James Caron's character. So they kind of buddy up. The owner of the facility is Clu Gulager, and he plays Bob. So James Caron's character is kind of showing him through the factory, and what he's going to be doing and whatnot. And later in the afternoon, he sits down with him, and he's kind of telling him a spooky story about how Night of the Living Dead was actually based on a real story, but Romero had to change the facts around a little bit. And that is that the army had this chemical, trying to remember what it was, like 2,4,1-trioxin or something, and it was in a VA hospital in Pennsylvania, and it had spilled, it had leaked down to the morgue, and then because of that the bodies had started moving and stuff. So the bodies were supposed to be shipped somewhere else, but they were accidentally shipped to this particular medical supply store or warehouse. And the bodies were kept in the basement. And so James Caron's freaking out Freddie. He takes him downstairs to look at kind of these big, vats of these bodies that are all, like mummified and stuff. And of course, there ends up being a leak. They're exposed to the fumes that are released. The fumes are spread throughout the facility. They're spread outside because there is a cemetery next door, and you know the rest. Mayhem ensues. What really stands, there's a lot of things that stand out in this flick. The cast is fantastic. James Caron is great. All of the younger actors were fantastic. It had a kind of a punk rock. All the kids were kind of punk rockers, and they were all fantastic. I'm sure a lot of young men enjoyed what was her name? Trash, who was basically naked throughout the whole film, which was hysterical in itself because they're running away from all these corpses, and she's just got like leg warmers on, and the rest of her is just hanging out. And it's funny because like in the documentary they were saying that actress, like they didn't want the director, well, not the director, but I think one of the producers was like, well, you can't have her have full frontal nudity, not really her boobs, but like her vaginal area could not be exposed. So they ended up making this like almost a Barbie piece to put there, so it just kind of looked anatomically incorrect. It was just like a plain piece. But anyway, so she's running around half naked, and so that it's hilarious. I'm not going to spoil what happens to all the characters, but you have to assume that most of them meet their demise by the zombies. And the zombies, oh my goodness, the zombies, I would have been dead in about 3 seconds, because these zombies full out run, they're smart. And, you know, a couple things that I was just rolling on the ground about were, you know, how they would, because the paramedics were there, and you know, one of the zombies would get on the little walkie-talkie and be like, send more paramedics, send more cops. So they would come and then they could eat them. It's just hilarious. You know, eventually the scene moved from the medical warehouse over to a funeral home, because Clu Gulager's character knew the mortician over there. They wanted him to burn a couple bodies. And then Don Kolfa's character he played it so great, because he played the mortician. It's just so damn funny and spooky. Like the tar monster, the practical effects in this movie were awesome. If only movies nowadays would stick to more of these practical effects, because they look great. This movie is, well, what, 85, 90, over 20 years old, and the practical effects look fantastic. You have the tar monster. I'm not getting more in depth about this film because I know so many of you guys have seen it, but the tar monster looked great. You know, he just looked fantastic. You have the female kind of half skeleton that's laying on the mortuary, whatever, not the bed, but the examining table. That looked amazing. It really did. They did such a great job with that. And the rest of the makeup for the other zombies looked awesome. It really is just a great blend of fun characters that you care about. You have, you know, good acting. It wasn't cheesy. It's not like you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of iffy. It isn't like that at all. A good story that you really want to follow along with. Great special effects. The music was good. Everything, and the music didn't overpower the film either. Everything just kind of came together so perfectly in this film. And for those of you who haven't seen it, I will not spoil the ending. But even the ending worked out really good. So I highly recommend seeing this if you've never seen it before. And if you haven't seen it in a long time, please check it out again. Now this disc, oh, maybe someone can help me on this. Does this disc have the original music? Because I was kind of reading things here and there where the original music was replaced. So if anyone could tell me, like, which version has the original music, that would be awesome. If I have to, like, find a VHS copy or whatever. But on the DVD, it has a commentary from Dan O'Bannon and production designer William Stout. I listened to most of that. It was very informative. The two have a nice rapport, and they comment along with the movie nicely. So I would recommend listening to that. Designing the Dead featurette, that was very good. Conceptual art by William Stout, TV spots, and then a theatrical trailer. So they have really nice special features on this disc. But what I recommend absolutely picking up is this, More Brains, A Return to the Living Dead documentary. This was very, very good. They talk with a lot of the cast members, the crew members. They go back to some older interviews with Dan O'Bannon, a lot of the special effects guys. You name it, they talk to people on this film. And then, of course, they do They even talked to Stacy Q, who had kind of the main theme in this song. They go back to some of the filming locations for the film, which is fun because those have changed quite a bit. And then you have scenes that were cut from the documentary. It's really jam-packed, so if you want a kind of a closer look into Return of the Living Dead, I highly recommend picking this up because it's really, really good. There's that, and then this is the cover of the DVD. And then there we go. But you know what? I think that's about it for Return of the Living Dead. I am so, so happy that I was finally able to check out this movie because now I'm hooked on it. I really am. This is going to be one of those flicks that I'll be watching at least a couple times a year because it's just a really nice combination of, you know, spooky, funny, you know, it's fun, great characters, just the whole package I really enjoyed. Now I know that they made, well, at least 2 sequels. There may be more, but I know that there's 2, and I have not seen those yet. If you guys recommend checking those out, please let me know. Because I know in the documentary, I didn't watch those 2 parts of the documentary when they talked about the sequels, because I haven't seen them yet. But I'm just wondering, you know, should I check them out? I probably will, but I want to know your guys' feedback on them. See what you think. But you know what? That's it for today. I hope you guys are doing really well. And please check everyone else's videos out. And I will check you out next week. Take care.